Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. Really excited to have the track back together around the layout. Always a big job to get everything reassembled after a train show, and it was particularly challenging this time as we had a number of more complex track sections to reassemble, and in the haste of trying to get everything packed up at the end of the show, not everything made it back into the proper box. Some things were mixed up in different places. So it was quite the adventure to get everything reassembled. But, happy to have the track in what should be a relatively good place now. Still some organizing to do around the layout. I need to repopulate the train yard and some buildings to fix up, a couple of sidings to extend out, but we're getting pretty close. So today I wanted to run some trains around the layout and not only test some of the different switches and just the overall functionality of the layout, but give you guys an early glimpse as well at some of the changes I've made to the layout and where, a few things are located. So should be fun. I will tell you guys, I've been trying to move a few trains around the layout just as a little bit of a test before filming. I've run into a couple of gotchas, but we'll see what we encounter here as we start to run trains on camera. So let's dive in and see what we get. We're going to start off with the Maersk train, pulling just the two Maersk cargo cars, and then we'll kind of work from there and try a few different configurations with the Maersk, as well as a few other trains as well. Always a bit of an adventure getting the track hooked back up again. Things don't end up in exactly the same place in terms of track pieces, so you're never quite sure if you've missed some little bit of configuration magic that you had in an old iteration of the layout. Generally seeming pretty smooth. The spot that I'm a little worried about is that area right there before the T-junction. There's a little bit of unevenness in the tables over there. I was getting some odd behavior with the first switch on that side, but we seem to be doing okay so far. Happy with how smoothly that is working. I'm going to show you guys a few different angles here before we start to add some other trains and loads into our test configuration. Continues to run pretty smoothly. Really awesome. The number of different track modules that we have now allows for some really interesting configurations for the trains to run through. It was fun at the train show to put the T-junction and the monster crossover through their paces a little bit more than we're able to here in the Lego room, but awesome to have them back and integrated into the layout here. That's all looking pretty good. So I think the next thing that I'm going to test, I'm going to try opening up the switch over here so that the Maersk train moves down through the yard and then back out onto the main line. So we'll see how that works. So we'll let the train move through here before we flip the switch. Now that should send it down into the yard. And we will move down here to see how this works. I think it should carry. Ideally, it's going to take it all the way down through here and then back out onto that main line, that outer main line, but I'm going to be ready to stop it if things go haywire. We don't get what we expect. Well, that worked well. That is always a nice feeling when things go well. So cool, the different paths that you can get with the T-junction and that monster crossover. So that's working pretty well. I think the next thing that we're going to want to test here is try adding I'll probably get the Maersk back out onto the main line, just going around that outer main line. And then we should add, let's stop it here as it comes through. And then we should add another train on the inner main line and see how things run with the two going at once. Okay, so I've got the switches all set. They should work to keep the Maersk on the outside mainline track. I've also added the VTG tank car to the back of the Maersk train. So it just adds one more car to that. And then I've got the Brickmania trolley set up on the inner main line. So we'll run that and see if we run into any issues. Fingers crossed, this should be relatively smooth. So we've got the Maersk running first. Just make sure that does everything we expect. Not really expecting any oddities with that, but you never know. And so then we should come back nicely through here. Okay, that looks pretty smooth, and that tank car is running well in behind there. So let's fire up the trolley next and see what that does. Let's move around over here so we can better see the length of the track. Love the trolley car. Such an awesome train car. Really need to build a few more trolleys. I've got the parts for at least another trolley, like a winter village trolley car. Should get that up and running soon. That looks pretty smooth. No issues there. It's really weird. I wonder why in that sort of initial check I was doing down in that corner over there, why the train car was derailing, because everything seems really smooth now, which I'm happy about, but also just a little weird. So that's running really smoothly. So I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to look at adding another train car to the back of the Maersk there to put it up to 4 cars. And I'm going to look at activating the inner mainline switch down there for the T-junction to bring the trolley through the rail yard and then out back onto the inner main line. So first off, added another couple of cars actually to the Maersk train. So now it's got 5 cars that it's pulling. Running super smooth so far. Love my HA Bricks train cars. Really unfortunate that they are no more, but they're all running really smoothly there behind the Maersk. So that's good. Now that means next we need to test out that trolley car moving through the rail yard. So I'm gonna run around and throw some switches. Okay, so they're running really well. So let's go over here and see if we can change that switch there, which should bring the trolley car down into the yard, and hopefully it will go back out onto the inner main line. Here it comes. Down through the yard and back out onto the main line. That's really nice. That worked out super well. Really love the fact now that with the T-junction down there, we can have trains running through the train yard like this. You know, gives us basically entry and exit from either end of the rail yard, which is so nice. So that's running smooth, and that one's running really well. So I'm gonna try showing you guys a different angle of this, and then I think the next thing is to go, I need to get the Union Pacific out. Probably run the Union Pacific and see how that does. And then there was a request to run the Santa Fe boxcar. The trick with the Santa Fe boxcar is that it needs the KD coupler to attach to the train. And that is the car that when I was using the Union Pacific car that has the magnet on one end and the KD coupler on the other end, when I was using that car with the Santa Fe boxcar, I was getting some derailments down at that end in my just initial testing of that spot down there. So let's see, as we sort of work our way back towards that test case, what happens here. So a couple things going on here. So first off, we added another car to the end of the Maersk train. So it's running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars now. Still running really smoothly. I have the Union Pacific here all set up. I have taken the bottom parts of the last 3 cars off there just to prevent anything from catching on the track if there's some bumps and lumps along the way. I want to give this the best chance of working, and I have a feeling that there's going to be some stuff over there that might cause it an issue with those parts attached to the underside. So I'm going to try running without it initially, and then, ideally I'd like to get back to the point where those are on, but let's just see how it works running like this. So if we go here, so let's see how it does. Oh, it's not running really well. That's fast enough, I think, to get it around one loop, and then we can always give it a little extra acceleration the next time it comes by. Fingers crossed we don't have any issues as it goes through the track over there. Okay, so as it comes through here, we'll try to give it a little extra speed. There's a lot of extra speed, but we'll see how that does. Maersk train continuing to run really well. And the Union Pacific train is now really moving along the track. It may just have been the fact that I had those bottom components back on the Union Pacific train. It ran fine with those when I was at the train show, but it might just be a little too much here in the Lego room with a few of the bumps that we have on the track. And like specifically, I know there are a few little uneven bits on this back stretch right here as you go in and out of the T-junction. I can work on trying to smooth those out a little bit more, but not having those lower sections on just gives us some more leeway room. But pretty happy. That seems to be working pretty well, which is good, because I would like to have the Union Pacific pull the Santa Fe boxcar and the New York Central caboose. So that'll be our next test in a moment here, but let's just move to a different angle and see if things hold up here. Really love all those trees. They really add a lot, I think, as they're now starting to pop up in more and more places around the layout. A lot more that I want to do in terms of the landscaping and just some of the terrain around the track, but I think those trees are the beginning of some really nice stuff that we can do with those corner modules. And honestly, they're not even just all on the corner modules now. They're starting to move out into some other areas, which I think is really nice. Really happy with how things are moving here, though. I think we've reached a point of pretty stable running, and we've got most of our trains back functional and able to run fairly well around the layout. Really nice to see a number of different train cars on the Maersk train here that we don't normally get out and running around the layout. So like I said, pretty happy now with the way things are looking. I'm going to now stop the Union Pacific so that I can add the Santa Fe boxcar and the New York Central caboose onto the back of that in place of its current last car. And we'll see if we can run those successfully around the layout a few times. Yeah, so smooth. Really happy with how those are running. So really nice to see these two train cars on the back of the Union Pacific. Definitely need to get a, sort of more thematically appropriate locomotive for pulling these, but for now, this is a good train to tack them onto. So we're going to try running this around, not only seeing how well it performs, but it'll just be nice to see these two cars out on the main line. Did notice when I was stopping everything, got a piece here on the edge of the track. You have to look and see where that came off of in particular, but we will figure that out after. So let's try firing up the Union Pacific here. Move to the front so it can receive the signal better. Oh, are we on the wrong? Pretty sure you're on this one. Okay. Nope. Now it's gonna go. See, we'll start off a little slower, and then we can add a bit more power to it if it looks like it's making it around generally okay. Slow through the corners, but that's not the end of the world. A little more speed and we can take care of that, but that seems fairly good. We'll give it a little extra speed. Coming down into what I would call the most likely place for an issue to happen. It seems pretty good though. So I've been happy. Yes, everything's running pretty well. Nice to see not only some of the cars and locomotives that were out at the train show back here fixed up and working, but nice to be able to get some other train cars out on the layout that haven't been run in a while. That's really good. I'm happy with that. So the big test now is to see if there's any issues if I move the Union Pacific out onto the outer main line. We're gonna stop there, And I'm going to shuffle the trains around. So the Union Pacific is on the inner main line, and I'll get the Maersk train off, probably just onto the inner main line is probably the easiest thing. So then we can do one last test and then be pretty confident that everything is in a good place. So this is the final test. Trying to make sure that everything is behaving the way I expect. So I think I can be reasonably certain that the issues I had when I was just doing some quick tests on that piece of track back over there with the T-junction is that probably the low hanging parts of the Union Pacific were just causing some issues there. Moving through some of the less sort of flat sections of the layout over there, and the ultimate fix for that is just going to be to go in there and just work on those parts of the table, specifically the transitions from the table to the little bridging wood. Oh no, look at that, I spoke too soon. Let's stop things and go see what happened here. So ultimately, it seems like this is the train car that's causing some issues at the moment when it's transitioning through this part of the track here on the outer main line. There are a few little bumps and lumps to this section of track. So I think probably in the short term, the best thing for me is going to be to kind of go through here and see if there's anything else I can do to kind of flatten this section out and just try to work on making it more reliable. But overall, like the Maersk train was running really smoothly. And I think the difference might be just the fact that it is on all magnets, whereas the Union Pacific at this particular car, the one that's causing troubles, is switching from magnets over to the KD couplers, which might be just, kind of at a funny angle or getting caught on something as it's moving through this bumpier section. I'm pretty happy overall with how things are running though. The fact that the Union Pacific runs very smoothly on the inner main line, and the Maersk is running super well on both the inner and outer main lines. I think that is a big win at the moment, and we will continue to polish this little section of track up. But in general, we've got something that works again, and we can, just sort of fine tune and polish it up from here, which is a nice place to be. After being basically a week without the track set up here, slash, with it out at the train show, it's nice to have things kind of whole again and to be able to start making some forward progress on the layout and some of the other things that we have planned for the Lego room. Like I said, really excited about everything coming together again in the Lego room here. Still some fine tuning to do with the track, but able to start making forward progress again on a number of the different projects that we have on the go here in the Lego room, and lots of cool videos coming over the next few days. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.